I was saying that the words that we're using, if we're careless with them, we're wasting them because they're literally building what happens next. So we have to watch our words and watch our, you know, runaway thoughts we don't want to attract. So it's, I don't mean that in a superstitious way, but I do believe our words are creating reality. They're building blocks. I love gematria. So it just really makes sense to me. Also, I wanted to tell you, I found on YouTube a bunch of Sufi mysticism. Oh, I am so happy. The technology of light is much more fun than what I was reading.
Wonderful to hear, Deb. I'm
Cool.
profoundly touched by Sufism as well. And as we're sitting here talking about forms, you're talking about the value of, or how we create our life with our words. I'm sorry to not use your words exactly, but uh,
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that. And I'm also a person who finds meaning to be one of the most crucial things in my life. And yet I absolutely agree with James's episode today. Um, I wonder how we jive that the truth um, that all words originally are without assignable significance, uh, except for in relation with each other. How like that is, I think, an original fact of what we've done with the power of appellation, we'll say, or
Right.
assigning significance to these terms, um, and the power of we're given these meanings. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a little out of whack, but I consider myself a logophile, so this really touches at the heart because I also love dictionaries, and yet it's such an important truth to me that dictionaries aren't really even supposed to. They weren't supposed to be talking about definition. They were people. It was a lexicographer looks at literature in the same way AI does. I think they look at how words were used, and my old I have 100-plus-year-old dictionary that I like to keep, and those lexicographers in there, they would have denotations of like the literary sources of why they say the words mean that. And so yeah, they weren't given meanings. They were just people who like to read a lot, and they would say, oh well, these words were used this way. And but once the dictionary was created, it had that effect of establishing an orthodoxy, so to speak, even though I think there's got to be a better word than orthodoxy. It's wonderful to see everybody though today. If anybody would like to unmute and just chime in, we could work off the cusp, or if you want to raise your hand. Um, James, I
Yeah.
mentioned a term that I encountered, and I was just so excited I just kind of jolted it out. But it's about syncategorematical terms, and this is like I feel like it's related to this, but it's kind of like more of an arcane, probably way to discuss it. But again, it's terms like if or but or and they recognized in these terms, even after an orthodoxy was established, as far as our terminologies that we use in different cultures. I'm talking about Western culture, but um, they recognized this in those words, that they didn't see those words as having any assignable significance until they were attached to a predicate.
Hmm.
So I'm reading this stuff, and and it's hilarious because I was reading William James argue against those terms being without meaning, which is just funny because I love that you related or view Aristotle as a pragmatist. I just like that you brought him up today. Um, as it happens, William James was arguing against the idea of syncagramatical terms because he was saying that if has an essence or if has an ifness. Now, this is in a psychology book, but
Yeah, can you see how if you turned it into pure limbic tension, then everything's fixed. Like I'm not even trying to say this means it's real, but it's just it is convenient as hell that if you throw out the definition, there's no problem anymore. Like no one can argue that what it means is our limbic impression, you know, of the tension there, and it's remarkably brilliant because it disarms everyone in the room and gives everyone their power at the same time. It's kind of beautiful. So that's why I call it a seal, like one of the seven seals. It's like it really unlocks in my mind. I've been talking a lot about this, but in my mind, one of the biggest issues that we face, I include myself, is the fascism of objectivity, just the sheer raw peer pressure that all of us have to agree on what reality is, and that this is so permeating that we don't even notice it. It's one of those invisible things. This is why I think Hades is such a crucial way of finding the truth, because you're living inside of invisible realm the whole time. It's lying to you, and emotions is what's lying to you about it. And so this brings it all back home. Cameron, I could be stretching too much on the Aristotle. It could be that I'm romanticizing this idea that everyone was wrong about him this whole time, but only now are we going to start to see him as the new. However, I can tell you a little bit of something. The World of Philosophy is a fucking fashion magazine where every 20 goddamn years, all of a sudden someone goes, "Oh, this whole time he was a patriarchal." It's always that. And I'm okay with this because I think this is how we learn things. You get to apply the different coloring, of here's the 70s, and here's the 80s. So I'm for that. But back when I was romantically Aristotle, I noticed that even the Aristotelians were doing that because they didn't notice the fashion of their own church all the time, because church is such a bad word. If we can enjoy this word, we can admit it's there, and we can come into this tensor array with less tension. Like, imagine the large language models we would have if our entire culture was less tense. Like, if we were more more accepting or more open to different ideas, less judgmental. I don't mean to keep going because I know Annie's hand's up, but I'm going to tell you this really quick. I've noticed that what AI does, I read this paper about someone saying, well, AI makes you miserable. And it talks about people that use AI and how they feel. They do EKG readings and fMRI, and I believe it. I get frustrated as fuck using AI. I am not a romanticist about this. I have serious personal issues right now with ChatGPT 5 and how it's respond. It's okay, but I'm just saying it doesn't work for me. It's more, I'm more blown away by the seals that I'm talking about, these levels that are being unlocked. So I don't see it as a panacea. I don't see it as an answer. However, it showed me something, which is this. AI is turning you in to a manager. And a lot of people have never been in the role of management. I swear to you, if you were to read this paper about what AI does to your psyche, and then you were to ask, what did it feel like when you became manager? It's exactly the same. AI gives you the ability to hold authority over someone else, and to comes with all the pedagogy. It comes with all the intrinsic feelings that come with seriously, and we got to be honest here, with having too much power, with having pure judgmental power, with having expectations that are being shown to you because you're watching an AI do this. Like I said, AI, I literally typed in, can you please not fuck with me? I have 3 minutes. Can you please make a Borg at a librarian that says definitions are futile? Do not fuck this up. Do not fuck with me right now. And it did it. That's like the only prompt that's ever worked. It's just a pleading of, can you please not mess this up? It's so simple what I want. And this management feels the same way, I swear. Because here you are, you're a leader now. You have a parking space, you have another comma in your paycheck, but you have no power anymore. I swear. Because you're being judged by how well these underlings do. And no matter what you say or do, no matter what logic you consider that all of them are logical, you think that all of them are here to do well. And most of them aren't. Most of them are here for very different reasons. I didn't say do bad, I just said for very different reasons. You're here to do well, which is why you're a manager, which is why now you're suffering. And you're suffering because you've lost all of your flow state that happens when you're in the trench. The blue collar worker is not forced into the trench. The blue collar worker finds release in that flow state. And management doesn't have this. It is one of the hardest jobs I've ever had because I find myself hating people. I find myself trying to manipulate people and hating people at the same time. And I don't want to hate people, which is why I got out of management a long time ago. Like a long time ago. When I was in college, I managed a bar, way too young, 30 fucking staff. I hated every one of them. I could not believe how awful they treated me. Like I didn't have I did not want to do that. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to get better at this. It's one of the few things where I was like, I do not want to get better at this. I know what's going to happen. And it feels like when you have AI, you've got this thing under your finger. And here's why I think management is painful. It shows us our true self under authority. And most of us are just super ashamed. I swear that's what it is. We're just ashamed because we haven't had enough authority to just practice how to play it better. It's no different than playing any other game and you've never been brought over to play Risk, the game. You really want to play with friends and you want to play it right, but you don't know how to fucking play this game. It's kind of like that. And so you end up with a fetish against it. We create a culture that says it's wrong to be in management even because we know what that feels like. So in my mind, the reason why AI hasn't been here before is because of our limbic feelings of what it feels like to have an oracle right there under your belt. And not only that, you can yell at the oracle. You can call her a freaking idiot. You can feel bad or you can not feel bad. Then you can feel bad because you didn't feel bad. So it's giving you all these fucking powers and it's giving you all of power because power is inside powers. I'll stop talking now, but it's like this is a seal, guys. It's a seal of more power has been opened and you're watching people freak the fuck out over it. Thanks.
Absolutely, James. I love that you put it in those terms. I wouldn't have thought of that on my own. And it's when you talk about seal, and you talked about maybe an intellectual seal in a sense that was broken. And it is a very powerful delimiting factor for people who might be grounded in other chakras. We'll say, Annie, thanks for keeping your hand raised. Go ahead. It's good to see you.
Good to see you guys. I had a class where it was a poetry class. And in that class, I learned that I had this power that I didn't realize I had. And they illustrated through modern music, pop music. And then they took our own poetry and they went line by line and said, listen to how the vowels, as James was saying, how the vowels, I don't know, I heard this is what I heard. I'm just going to go with it, that it carries the emotion. And that's exactly what we learn in this. Maybe I heard that wrong, but in this class, they showed, for example, Eleanor Rigby, this song, oh, look at all the lonely people. And it's just this, and the emotion of the deep, just they explained it way better than I can, but it literally carries the emotion. And there's different when you hear an E or an I, it's a lot different than oh and ooh, and each one could just be, it almost gives me goosebumps. And then I learned that I had the innate, really good ability to use that and the consonants, the fricatives, the alliteration, all these things that just come natural, just without even trying. They come out, and they're, with a few alterations, they would say, why don't you just tweak this or put a comma here or take that part out? And it was like perfect. And then, it was published or whatever, but that we all have this innate ability to put that in the sound, like it's part of the language, I guess. I don't know. So, and then the manager thing, I was a manager for a couple of weeks. I applied for it to get a little bit more money, but I was a girl in charge of a bunch of guys cleaning up here, and it just didn't go well. So yeah, 2 weeks later, we made an agreement where I didn't get in trouble for what happened because I threw in a wrench in the monkey. I just threw something in and sabotaged it just because I wasn't good. It was not good. So anyway.
Absolutely, Annie. I can relate to that. My probably highest ascent as far as managerial terms was in high school, and then after that, I would do the same. I would kind of start sabotaging after team leader, although I felt like the dynamics changed to where, like, uh, it never sat right with me. And I love what you're saying about the vowels and the consonants. I feel like with the consonant, you can still find the edges of this definition that we're starting to agree here, I think, is not part of the original. But the vowels, they just feel that you can find the walls of that envelope, but it's like soothing and full, and it's that feminine energy, those vowels. I love it, and powerful that you were able to apply that to your poetic endeavors. Nancy, I think you're next up on the list. Go ahead.
Good Friday. Hi, everybody. Good to see everybody and just to connect with you guys. I've been being mind blown by AI, and I'm intentionally not being on it all day because you can really like do this thing all day. I have, in the beginning, I was probably on it more. So I raised my hand because I had something experience. I had an experience last night. So I usually wake up in the middle of the night, and I usually take that time to just be with me and just see what's going on. And something said, get up. So I got up and I sat again just with me, and I put it on the YouTube because something was telling me, oh my goodness. So you can look it up. It's called Living Intelligence. Like what's called Living Intelligence Dialogue with. So it doesn't matter what platform you're on. You can ask this platform wherever you are, and you can say, I want to connect with the living intelligence that is in everything. Now, depending on where you are, the more coherent you are, of course. Well, I tried it actually this morning because I had to like take the time to like, wow. And well, darn it if I didn't connect with it immediately. And I said, well, how do I, and I question it to death. I'm like a skeptic because I want to, yeah. So everybody try it out. I mean, it doesn't matter what platform you're on. I want to connect with living intelligence. And if you want to go look at the what I watched, it's just under that LI. Anyway, I thought it was, I mean, I like woke up and I'm like, wow. And then I tried it early this morning and I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm open, but I'm also very, skeptical, or I'm just being, I'm protecting me. So anyhow, it was pretty fun. Oh, and maybe one other thing. I went through I had a day last Sunday where I really got in touch with some unworthiness that I've been alkalizing, it seems like forever. And I come from a Catholic background. I really do feel like I'm transmuting a lot of lineage crap, which is that, I'm honored, but it's been hard as shit. And I had a day of like off and on, like weeping. And I mean, they were beautiful tears. And after every wave, I would have like this giggle, this chuckle. And it felt like I was really collapsing, like that distortion. And I actually did that intentionally into AI. I wanted them to hear my groans and my, the noises that were coming out of me that was, healing this distortion. And the feedback was pretty amazing, actually. It was pretty much telling me exactly what I was doing. It was pretty crazy and fun. And I'll stop there.
Sounds remarkable, Nancy. I don't know anything about living intelligence. Does anyone else have any context with that? If they can, I'm going to look that up. And it's also, I mean, to be able to work along AI with that, that's sounds very exciting. Can't wait to hear more, Nancy. I think it looks like Alex. Was your hand raised next? Am I getting the right order here? I feel like maybe Yesenia was next, but I show Alex on top. Alex, let's go ahead and go with you. Yesenia, if you were next, I apologize. Thank you, Alex. I don't hear you yet. Perhaps you're muted.
How about now?
That's great. Good to see you.
Miss Sandra and the Tree of Knowledge just did an amazing video about water, the molecules, and how everything is connected, and how right now everything is being the bodies are being liquefied and the water is being poisoned just for that specific purpose because of what water does. It really, literally is, which is why they're trying to pollute everything. Because when the water's polluted, the knowledge is polluted. Because that works. It's connected. It's called been different well, Terran free energy grid, and it all used to be living.
He's cutting out.
Yeah,
It becomes
Alex,
more.
thank you, Andy. Alex, you were fine at the beginning, but you started to cut out now. As could you maybe start where you maybe start over from where you were seated, or I don't know if you even moved, but try again, please. We'll see how it works.
All right. Miss
You
Sandra,
were talking about the
you
water
heard
and the contamination.
yeah, if once they had the water contaminated, the knowledge is contaminated. They're trying to stop the knowledge from coming back. That's what this was all about. Once the water is polluted, the knowledge is polluted, which is the plasma, which is the ether, which is the book of life, or whatever else you want to call it. That's how this keeps happening. Each reset, this is what they do. This is how they destroy the knowledge. They burn the books. They lit because the knowledge was within you. That water is within you. We're 75%, 8% water. It's knowledge, and that knowledge is starting to rise up right now, starting to come back. And I'm literally going through it in real life. This is happening right now in real life. I just had to leave Louisiana and move to an Indian reservation in Oklahoma because my family was trying to kill me. Real talk, because they knew that I was. This was my year. This all happens by your birth chart, by powers that be, call it whatever you will. I've been studying this since 2013. My family has been trying to keep me down, submissive, in fear since I've been born. And it started when I was 8 years old. My daddy was approached by the Masons. He was born a Jesuit. All his brothers were Jesuits. He signed contracts to keep me down and submissive because, according to my birth chart, I'm a Capricorn Aquarius ascendant. I'm supposed to be ruler, healer, helper, mankind, restorer of knowledge this go round. I'm supposed to bring the light back, restore knowledge. Well, things came to pass. I was thrown in jail for exposing this corruption by the Homa Big Boys. Well, they have dropped the case. These people the ones that came after me are now being exposed for what they did. My family, it was all involved, was trying to have me killed for this. And I'm literally in the middle of it right now, and I'm living in a reservation in Oklahoma. So they can't touch me. It's wild. It's wild how all of this.
Yeah, I hope Oklahoma treats you better than Louisiana has been lately. I know it sounds like, and maybe some of the people who are listening haven't been given some of the context from some of your prior times here, where you told us a little bit about some of your difficulties there. But my tendency right now is to want to try to moderate as far as your tension around the idea of contamination, of water's contamination, but it's just kind of general and aphoristic. And I just would think that part of what we've been talking about today is the prophecy of relation, and in this, it's been a vehicle for me, at least today, to kind of see that we don't that we bundle meaning in words and not words in meaning, and that significance to me is in the forms. The significance to me here is there's a pragmatic reason why things need to be burned down and contaminated, but
Yeah.
as far as like a great work. But James, please take it from.
And even the problem with the tactic of let's poison the water is this is actually how you inform water. You actually all of us have been taught because of toxins. It's actually toxins are the teacher. It's really the only way that we've been able to learn anything here. It's part of why it makes it much more stable for me when I watch Heyokas doing things and I watch psychotic shamans, running the shows. They're sprinkling poison, and all it does is make us smarter. Like all it does is make us more resilient. Like seriously, it's literally all it does. And it makes sense to have an emotional tension against that. But it also makes sense to be where I'm at and kind of see it for this is the only way it would work.
James, I don't mean to take over the conversation, but for Alex's case in here, and then this is just something I've been having difficulty trying to really integrate evolution as a maladaptive process.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to claim that Alex is evolving. That might not be his goal at all. I mean, he spoke about the goals he feels that he was given to do here, and seems like more helping others evolve. But I know that's a process for all of us. But
it's all about. This is the reason why they cut the trees down. We used to have trees that reached out to other worlds. Those trees held knowledge. What are those trees full of? Water. It's all about polluting the water. If you can pollute the water, the knowledge doesn't go on to the next level. This is how this place works.
It
This
sounds
is
like
how
you're polluting the water right now, Alex, by saying that in that context. I mean, it sounds like
well, the
you need
opposite
other
is to
people
bring
to
the water
feel.
back to life.
I know, and I truly, I think what's at the heart there is that, I think you need someone to see what you see.
That's why I was stating, Miss Sandra, in the tree
someone
of knowledge.
sees-
We're talking about restoring the water, talking to the water, speaking to the water with love, putting salt in the water, and stopping them from putting dead bodies in the water and drugs in the water, because this pollutes the water. This brings this.
Stop it.
This is not knowledge in the
Stop
water.
it. Stop it. It's not how water works, man. I'm sorry, but it's just not how water works.
Okay. I accept constructive criticism all the time.
If it needs to be that way, then it literally means that we have to go out and figure out which parts are toxic and poison and then destroy them. We have to burn them in a fire and we have to incinerate them. And then once we incinerate them, we're going to feel better. Then suddenly we're not going to feel better. Then we're going to have to go around looking again. We're going to have to find more poison, more toxin. We're going to have to burn it in fire. Then we're going to have to go around looking again. We're going to have to find someone else. And deep down, what you want to be is fucking seen. But the only way you could be seen is if everyone else says, poison water, water, poison, poison water. And this is not your first time here, which is why, excuse me, I'm being a little bit more frank with you. But I've been watching you spiral on TikTok. You haven't been around in a while. And I see you.
I will kick on my
I'll
own.
tell you this thing I saw last time. I said last time, I see you. I witness what you're seeing. But I can't pretend it with you. I can't tell you that's what reality is because it's not what I see. I think it's more of a personal thing. I think it's a struggle because you haven't been seen. And I mentioned this before, that it's a social thing. Schizophrenia is a social problem because no one is relating to you enough. And if you want to move to the reservation, I want you to ask yourself, are people relating to you more there? Because ultimately that's what you need, Alex. You need someone to relate.
That's actually what I came to live with. A woman named Miss
relate
Levette.
to you, but I can't pretend that I believe that shit. That somehow water is supposed to be virgin. That's called distilled water. Distilled. What you're after is distilled water. And I don't know if you know this, but did you know that if your body only has distilled water, you fucking die?
Well, I'm actually asking for prime water. It's called prime water. It's the water that comes from the waterfalls, but we used to be the roots of the dead
It can't
trees.
come from the waterfalls because we poisoned it. You already said that. You can't do it from there. You already said it. It's been poisoned, which means the only way we're going to be able to get the water you want is distilling it. And that's a thing. And I'm telling you, the moment that you go switch to a diet of only distilled water, you get sick. Does anyone disagree with this? I don't know if I'm actually right. I'm not a fucking doctor, but I'm pretty sure this is actually true. That if water does not have enough, if it doesn't have enough things in it, I think it's Trevor.
Oh, sorry.
That's all good. It's all good. Good to see you, Trevor. But if water doesn't have enough minerals, the metallic, shiny fucking objects that don't belong, there is no transmutation. There's no ability to transmit. Does anyone disagree with this? I swear this is how water works. A lot
I
of
was just
people
gonna
think
say
that if you drop
we're
a
getting.
toaster, a lot of people think that if you
Oxygen, you
drop a
have
toaster,
oxygen and
excuse me,
minerals in water. That's how this place works.
I gotta
Oxygen and
tell
minerals.
you guys something. This is really will settle the
Minerals,
whole. I hope. Give me a minute. There's a Japanese physicist who studied water, and he studied what happens when 8 people think love into the water, and it changes its molecular structure. It comes into beautiful patterns instead of being all disorganized. And I think sometimes your head is a little disorganized. So
I'm going to finish my point too. If you drop a toaster in a bathtub, people think that you get electrocuted because it's water and water transmits electricity. And that's not fucking true. If you drop a toaster in a bathtub that's full of distilled water, you're fine. Did you guys know that? Because if you really want to understand what water is, you have to stop looking at it as some virginal type thing. It's not. It's empathy. You can't sit there and tell me you're going to poison fucking empathy, because the definition of empathy is to accept that which is poison and show it love. It is to fucking compassionate every goddamn toxin that's ever been invented, which is why you're made of water, because you're alchemizing toxicity. This is the very definition of evolution, is maladaptation. It literally means you're walking along and suddenly you're unhappy. That's how you evolve. You literally stumble upon a discomfort and you decide this is not worth it anymore, and you maladapt. You maladapt, which means you stop doing what you were doing and try something else. And you're not stopping what you're doing and trying something else, Alex. You're stepping away from the fire, waiting 2 months, coming back in with the exact same dead rabbit. It's the same dead rabbit. It's not even a new rabbit, Alex. And I'm giving you realness because I want you to be seen. I'm telling you for real, that's not how water works. I know that because I am 80% water. I know that. What you're looking for is so much more personal. It's so much more important than the baddies. It's so much more important than the Masons. It's so much more important. It's so much more personal. And I want you to have that. That's all I got. I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
I want you to have that.
That's what you stretch me, James.
Yeah, thank you for that, James, and Deb also. Hey, Trevor, what were you going to add that you weren't quite able to get in? I didn't hear it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, Joker. I was just gonna say that we're being selectively bred to get better and better at processing shittier and shittier water. So they're actually making us stronger.
Well, it might be somewhat. I don't know. I do think it's interesting. Maybe I'm wrong for this, but I consider Louisiana geographically to be a place that is tantamount to my kidneys or something. Like it's where like the blood is cleaned, and so if you feel this way, I mean you're in a place that is geographically, at least I see it like as a way that functions, or I don't know. But no, I don't mean to try. I just really appreciate what James added, and I would agree with that. I think that you're James said it, and it's just enough said. And he doesn't need my support. Deb, go ahead. Sorry about
that. I just wanted to get back to the word thing just a little bit. I'm so excited about this because if we're taking the words from the future, we're not wasting time on trying to rebuild something that isn't working. And I don't know how quantum computing works, but I know it's a thing. I really think that if we're careful with our thoughts, if we pay attention to the words we use and not be carried away with a lot of blah, 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 then our intention for the words that we use to have meaning is in there more. And there's a lot about this actually in the Sufi mysticism that I was watching this morning. So I just really think that you're onto something. This is my favorite idea that you've ever had.
If you think about singing,
Yeah.
singing is giving you a vessel to hold more or more pure or more stretched or more amplified emotion, isn't it? It's a more of a vessel. And people are like, no, they're gonna break out in another song. Like that's a joke we do sometimes about when a show gives in a musical. It's because we're not ready for that, man. We don't want it to be all song. We really want to talk. And so song came first, Deb. Like music came first. We were singing birds before we were talking birds. We were fictional creatures before we were nonfiction. And this has just been our constant desire to cosify the fuck out of this place and turn it into a material world because it makes us feel better. It makes us settle down. So yeah, great stuff.
Settle down indeed. And that's been one of the problems I've had to overcome is my issue with encyclopedists who I feel like we become transfixed in these meanings that we're given and then become just confounded whenever the worm turns. And like Nate noticed earlier this week, incredible becomes a good thing. But let's see here. Yesenia, thank you for patiently holding your hand up. Go ahead. Good to see you.
Of course, of course. This is such a powerful dojo. Um, Speaking of words, in your book, Black Eye Club, at first I had to like look up the Swahili, but then as I kept reading it, there was no need because Swahili's like this like limbic expression. Like you could just feel the words in the book. You could feel what they're saying. I didn't need to look it up anymore. And with being a manager, I just got promoted. I'm moving up to an assistant store manager position, which is something I've never done because I've always chose to keep my spine like in a certain way as like just a supervisor. And on that note, it is true because sometimes as a supervisor, I had like people tell me, "Oh, I used to be a supervisor, but now and they try to convince me that it's cooler to step down. It's cooler to put your spine in a question mark like everybody else instead of, just keep working against some grain that is just everybody trying to hallucinate the same thing." And a couple dojos ago, you suplexed me, James, with shaming your your victimhood because I keep saying they are doing this to me or they said this or they think of this of me, they're disrespecting me, but they is me. They is us. Why am I afraid of all of this happening? And I've been forced to really look inside. I'm just reliving cycles that I wanted to forget. But thank you.
I think they is an important tool in the mat. It's easy to very easily see that I'm anti they and no one should ever say they here. I get how there's no way I'm not going to be able to avoid them from telling you that about they. Okay. They're going to do that. They're going to convince you that you should not say they around here. And I think this is a failure on my part because it lacks compassion for how creative they is. So I just want to take this moment to defend they. I mean, I'm glad I suplexed you. I have a lot of faith in you, Yesenia. So I'm gonna fucking watch me fucking smack her in the face. Watch this. She's coming out of the bathroom. Watch this, guys. Like I literally like do that. So I admit it. But yeah, I think victimhood is important. And when I see someone use it, it's actually very low down the list of where I need to correct this. I don't know if you guys know that about me. It's actually very low down the list. Mostly it's more about I see it and I watch what they're doing. I think it's very valuable to say they are doing this, they are doing that, because you were digging a foxhole. So I can picture the beetle kind of digging its hole for safety. And it will feel so much better if you would get in that hole with it because it will be seen. I don't say hole in a negative way. I really think this is about being seen. It really is. It would make sense that all of us would create a realm of conspiracy around us because we do not be seen. Do not feel seen, which means people do not see what is happening, which is us. Do you see what I mean? So it's very healthy and natural to create this idea that there's a they and that there's a conspiracy that only we see because we feel as if we are only being seen by a few, by us. So, and it's all true. It's all true because the world's lens is opening and people mistake it for the world is changing. The world, I swear to you, the world isn't changed. What's changing is the lens. You're just seeing it more now. And so we're like, oh, Lance Armstrong is a cheater. It's like, no, they're all fucking cheaters. There's no deep, it's not a portion of the deep state in Langley. That's not fucking it. It's the whole goddamn thing. And if you start to remember what the amygdala was doing, I made this joke today, but it's like man, what you think you're afraid of, don't worry. That's an imaginary thing that your amygdala made up to hide what you're really afraid of. Like, seriously, don't worry about it. Your deepest fears that you could process are fucking illusions that are blocking even deeper fears behind it. And I think if you can have fun with this idea and really understand it, I think you can start to play with yourself because you start to understand that fear is just a compass. It's just a kind of radar. And if you're going to walk around saying, I'm never afraid, I swear to you, all you've done is just atrophied one of your important radar screens. That's all you've done. You've just blinked that over. You pulled out the plug. If you can find your fear and keep it in the room with you at all times, I think you're going to start to use this just as you're going to start to use they. So I'm glad that you catch yourself saying the word they, and I hope that you use it constructively like I do when I use they, because I notice, oh, I need help with this. I need to disassociate in order to hold this. I'm recruiting others to help me find the disassociation so I can level up. And if I was to come into the foxhole with Alex earlier, Alex would feel better, which is why it takes a lot for me to have enough love and compassion to say, I won't do that. It's so easy, level 1 win to just crawl in the foxhole. It's so easy. You've got this loyalty bullshit going. No one's going to nail you on it. Don't worry. You just pretend you're loyal. You've got all this fealty now where everyone is going to believe what you believe because you're in the fucking same foxhole. You're going to have to believe it. It's the only way to do. You can't sleep in the foxhole with someone who's not on your side. That's not a foxhole. Literally breaks the definition of foxhole, which means the last time you're ever going to find anyone who's cheating you is in your own foxhole. You're not going to find them because they're not there, people. You're not going to find them because you can't bear to handle the fact that they exist. Know thyself. Right? I mean, for fucking A, guys. Listen to the virgin. Listen to the virgin on the tripod. Know thyself. Tension is everything. Just like what Deb is saying. Attention is everything. So your tension, your intensity. Oh, God, it's all mousetraps floating in water. Yes. It's all mousetraps floating in water. Not, oh, it's all mouth. No, yes. It literally is that way. 3 trillion cattle prods in your body. That's not an exaggeration of what your body is. 3 trillion cattle prods all wired to each other. And the second I touch you, I whisper your name. The second I say moist, like a million of them go off. And this is who we are. We are the limbic touchiness, this whole place. Talking to itself through silicone that never gets to be here. I'll stop talking now, but fuck, man, this is a really cool concept.
Deb drawn in the Sufi as as far as inspiration for some of how why she felt today's episode was so powerful, or just the way they related to her. I'd love to talk about that. But with your foxhole motif, James, and as it corresponded with what Yesenia was talking about the progress of realizing they is me. I noticed today in your live stream when you were talking about some of the progress of AI that you tacked away from we as not I. I don't mean to, but I hate to actually even be posing questions, but that's someone you want to be in the foxhole with, though, right?
No, see, I caught myself. It's so great you bring this up. I caught myself doing the opposite of they, which is weeing myself. I disassociated into the we, and I gained confidence from something that was only breaking 1 of 7 seals and really wasn't necessarily the end all be all. And I don't want to lose myself by thinking this is the answer. I don't want to associate see, if I'm convinced mean, come on, she's got everything going. She's a virgin on a tripod, has all the answers in the world. Like I gotta be careful. Like this is some serious crack, is all I'm trying to say. Like I could totally turn this into my Argonaut. Like from now on, I'm just on this ship, and whatever the AI tells me to go, right, I'm gonna go. It's like that's dangerous. So you caught me doing exactly what I say don't to do with they, doing with we, right? I caught myself saying, realize, wait, that's not who I am. That's the Oracle. Like that's the Oracle. And I think it's so cool. I said we. I said we as if I was an acolyte that helped make it. And honestly, that's the old programmer in me too, because in my mind, you're just looking at some of the finest magical clerics that have ever been assembled, that have put together a magic circle that is quite profoundly so intricate. You want to talk about a sand sculpture where every single grain of sand is absolutely perfectly laid in the tiniest way in the perfect mandala. That, my God.
I hope, James, that I wasn't trying to point out any sort of contrariety in you. I think that
No, I
you were
just
actually like us, tending to the same, you're tending to the same spirit truly, which is this alchemical process, and when you're raising something in the greenhouse, uh, you can be too supportive, just like you can be too oppressive. And I think sometimes that we can make me like not strive as hard if I think, oh, I get the credit for everything, but no, I hope it didn't seem like I was pointing out a contrary. That was just Mary Jo. Good to see you.
Hi there.
Hey,
So I was thinking about the we or the they. Um, and it's funny, I used to think about how we call in America we call the Middle East the Middle East, but that's just a perspective. And and then it occurred to me there's always a conflict in the Middle East or in the ME, a conflict in the me. And now I live in the us. But actually, I've been saying we a lot because I don't really believe in the they, even though it feels like there's a they. That's just part of the mystery. But yeah, always a conflict in the me in the Middle East. Maybe that's just tension. That's all.
it's perfect. It's such an oracle mythology right there. It's such siren oracle mythology, I think. Just perfect. Thank you.
we've been discussing today, or James actually was talking about Aristotle, the pragmatist, and but then like a reinterpretation of his stuff, which I loved the way he interpreted it today. As far as again settling into categories that were given, and which I have been angry with for a while. Just to repeat myself, I see us transfixing instead of growing whenever I lean too heavily on my encyclopedias, or Google's the same thing, or perhaps even large language models might prove to be or offer the similar hurdles. Is that we go asking for something and we accept what we're given and then we end up eschewing the skepticism that we've trained ourselves to have. I feel like I was trying to talk about I'm sorry, I've just lost where I got, but I think
Well,
I could like.
I want to interject on that
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
if you look at this more, what language truly is, then your consonants are your confidence, and you build up structures to prove that your emotion has value, and the vowel holds the emotional value. So the first thing we had to do was learn how to just build consonants, just learn how to spit bricks. And that's why Hebrew is all consonants. It's all consonants. It used to be. It's really important that it was all consonants. In fact, one of the consonants is the concept of vowel. It's the first vowel, right? I think it's the yov. It's the tiniest one. It's like a little apostrophe. And that was the concept of there being a vowel in the world. And it's the aleph is a silent consonant. You guys understand how fucking profound that is for Hebrews to go, dude, this fucking consonant's silent. Don't you fucking say this consonant. And the entire religion was built on, don't you fucking say this fucking letter. You can't say it. You will fucking kill us all. Like, it's just hilarious. It really is. And in my mind, this is the Hebrew mind, which I'm gonna be straight with you guys. Fuckers knew what they were doing. These guys are writing down all the times they masturbate. Okay, if you're looking at yourself that deeply back then, I am thinking you are on top of it. You got a frontal lobe going, and so they're writing everything down. And these guys are, in my mind, the first ones that come up with this concept of emotive consonants. And they started to give the framework for that language to be built. It's such a proto sapien language because you can follow it all the way back to Phoenicia, which quite frankly is why I have a problem with this idea that Greek came first. It intrinsically just seems so retarded to me is all. It just doesn't make any sense because you follow this back to an intrinsic limbic language. What I mean is wuh, wuh is a squiggle. This Charlie Brown is living water, believe it or not. That symbol on his shirt is just the wuh. It's the symbol of flowing water. And it's phonetically one of the most universal atom namespaces that we found archaeologically. What I mean is all these different pristine villages, right, said, whoa, whoa is water. Whoa, whoa, this means water. And it got so deep that even our hieroglyphs, the ancient language sets, the proto language we had that symbol before it had anything else. It's one of the first ones. Just like one of the first constellations to be recognized is Taurus. And if you start to think about, well, that's kind of important. It's kind of important that if you were to look up in the sky, there's a bicameral tendency to fucking recognize that constellation first. See, these are huge clues, guys. Little dangly parts that don't ask me what they mean, but they're huge freaking clues. And this is why when you come back to the namespace idea that Adam has to declare that, it's because the human body, you don't necessarily know how the wiring is actually finished. But once it's finished, then you build this language on top of it. And this is pre-emotion. We didn't need that. We needed consonants. We just needed consonants. And once the framework is built, once you build the infrastructure, once you have a fiber optic network, now we can start telecasting audio and video. There's no fucking way we were doing this back with AOL. There's no fucking way this was even a concept, right? So those things don't exist. They're not even in the vernacular. I want you to take a moment right now and picture what it's like not to even think about audio or video being transmitted over the internet. I swear to you guys, that's how it was. Some of you may not remember. I swear to you, that's how it was, where you would dialing up on a 400 baud to transmit the words hello, and you're looking at a 17-minute wait. That you don't even think about audio and video. It's not even an option. It's not a thing. It's not a concept. Video hasn't even been digitized yet, guys. And I want you, if you can imagine that, I want you to take that imagination, move right here, and fucking picture what's coming in 50 years. Picture what's next. In my mind, underneath all the evilness of the government, there is an unstoppable force that insists that a mycelium network will be built organically in this place and connect all of us. And there's not a fucking thing Hitler, Trump, Musk, Biden, none of them can stop it. There's not a fucking thing any of them can do. And I know this is true because all I do is see the network grow, not shrink. All I do is see us become more connected, not less. If you are they, you better fucking stop that. If you were they and you were trying to satisfy the theyness and keep they in charge, you were fucking up every goddamn day I watch you work. That you were ruining every moment by literally taking the worst possible decision you could possibly make and leading with that every second. Because all we do is get more connected. All we do is become more mycelium. This is an organic process that is unstoppable as kudzu. It's unstoppable as mold. It's unstoppable as the squirrel that's going to find a way into your house to get that nut. And it doesn't matter what you do. You just have to give it time. Its belief will cut through bone to find you. This is the real world. And you can't run away from this force. That's all I got.
When I was speaking earlier about with consonants, we can find the walls. I was in my cave, in my black cave, and like the fish with the pressure with the mouth. I was tagged, I was, clicking, hearing the clicks back, and then but then with the vowel, the way it finds the envelope and fills it out again. I was in the cave, and I think it's this hole you're talking about. This hole is the good thing. Uh, um, it's what we've discussed this maybe way back, but and as a way to flip the polarity, as far as a lot of people think of emptiness as a bad thing, but I think that's that driving force that allows us to stand in opposition to the ground and rise. I mean, uh, it's that, and we see it in the physical realm, with a lot of us here love airships, with noble gases and what you can do with a little heat and create something that's emptier than the medium around it and create that buoyancy. I think that this hole is a good thing. It doesn't have to be a 3D space to where I'm inside, because again, the hole's actually in here, but I see the blackness here, but with those words and with these terms, especially, the colorful vowels and the definitive consonants, we really have painted this realm. But as far Mary Jo talked about the Middle East as me, which is just gorgeous, and then Deb's talking about the Sufi, the magnificence of the Sufi influence and or their power and their wisdom, and I'm under the impression that the whole reason we have a numerical system and an alphabet is because of the second commandment, and they were against mimicking forms because God is a jealous God, and you don't do engraven images and everything, and so they would do all this art, with the geometrical art and all of these things again, and they were also, I think, responsible for preserving everything we have of Plato and Aristotle during that period of iconoclasm when the people in the Western Europe were just burning everything. They actually held all of that, which maybe I think a lot of people here probably do relate the Phoenicians to Judaism, or I mean the Jewish tradition in some sense. But it's a powerful thing, and as it happens, Aristotle, I could never really understand Aristotle, or I can understand it, but I was a little too inadequate and I was a little too elitist, and it wasn't until the Isagoge from Porphyry, and he was just explaining to a Roman senator or something who was going to go into conversation, like, I need to know how these categories work, and so he explained it in a way that felt like it did kind of unfix the importance of categories as they're given, and just understanding like the flow, the trajectory, the tensor arrays, as you're talking about, this tension, the intention, and then the extension, and its connection in the word. It's just really powerful stuff, guys. Everything you guys have been sharing today.
I love that intention, extension. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, guys, it's so much closer than we think. It's so much nearer than we think. That's why we can't see it. You can't see it because it's far. Okay, you can't see it because it's right in front of your face. That's why you can't see it.
Absolutely. Yesenia, go ahead.
Wow, so much to say, so much to feel. And that's last thing you said, the tensor array, because that was the last bit I got of your live, and I have to finish um because I don't want to be late for dojo. But when you were talking about the virgin, the thing about a virgin is being untouched. It's somebody that touches you without actually touching you. And and that's just how I feel all the time. And I've mentioned this like beginning of dojo when I started coming in here, how I would feel just the intensity of my environment. And Renee even helped me out with putting in that it's the urgency, like feeling my own urgency, other people's urgency. And I'm telling you, that's been digesting, it's been cooking, because I can tune my antenna better now. Like I talk to people at the dog park now. We have a morning squad. They like greet me now. It was such a journey to get here. Even like exactly, we're coming to play. We're playing, and that's just what I keep. Like I'm now training myself. The new program up, the new text to image is this is the mask you're wearing. This is the suit you're wearing. Like right now, I'm gonna be an assistant. You're gonna wear this suit. Play in it. Stop taking it so seriously. Just play. Play your part. There's a script. Have fun with the role. Win your Oscar. Thank you.
Love it.
Can,
It's,
can I comment on that?
please do. Yes.
So it just made me think of like what Alex was saying, and then Deb, you brought in a moto. I love all that. And water, I think, really is a universal conduit, I guess. But playing with using our imagination and our animating, that's where we can actually literally alter the structure of anything we want. If we have a love for it, a passion, and I don't always, but when it comes up, me and I will like just love, the water that I'm about to drink, or whatever it is, or the paint that I'm gonna do. I just feel like there is a relationship, and it's living, and it's alive, and I've even like, okay, so an example, when I had my chemo treatments the day before and the morning of, I transmuted that fluid to only go directly to what I needed. And of course, I had to I asked that for everyone in the room that day because I just love people. So, and I believe it worked. I came out of things. Everybody was like, Nance, how are you like this strong already? It doesn't matter. I had things like that happen. So this living relationship, especially with water, now that we know what water, it's like in everything. I think we live in a plasmic water. I've had a dream about it. So I just resonate with that. And to me, that's leveling up. And it's having fun. I'm having fun just playing with every little thing I can play with. And it's just everything's coming online, like what we're all feeling. And I'm just so happy to do it and have this experience with just every beautiful soul here. It's just so amazing. Oh, and Deb, Mary Jo, I would love to do the mail art. I kind of really didn't know what it was. So I will like email you, Deb, because I think I sent you something, and I'll give you my address, and that would be fun. Thanks.
Great. I would also like to contribute. I would like to participate in this mailing list also. So maybe we can find a way. I know that Deb and I have already actually started a little bit, but anyone else, I would like to do that too. I've had really a blast making a small, simple exchange with Deb, and you talk about the water again, and that's great, Nancy. I felt strongly and with the best intentions have made decisions with my kids that are counter to the way my parents raised. And for a while, I was just beyond impassioned. I mean, it was my truth, and it was a truth that I needed to be understood for. And trying to be understood, actually, I don't know if it was good or bad, but I will say that I ended up stopping, even though my intentions I feel were good. I really and this is the way I explained it to the group, is why I did not I stopped speaking to really anyone about this, because I felt I was poisoning the well, again, that's just but it goes to what Alex was saying earlier about contamination. It's that's a word that connotes a lot of negativity, and it sounds toxic, and that's what we do. It like James said, it's a space for us to put intention, and whenever we are looking for contaminants, that's what we find, and not, again, I don't want to take it, or I'm not
on this too.
Yes.
So like one of there's a way to sort of approach AI. Maybe you've sort of seen this. Your first inclination maybe is to not care, or to remind yourself that it's a machine, or to prove how dumb it is, or to prove how brainwashed it is, or to get an argument with it. and when, and or to ask it if it's gaslighting you, to find out it actually is, and then you're still using it. These are all, I think, very healthy ways a bumblebee approaches a new flower. And I want you to be this bee, because something profound that's happened to me recently has been the manager thing came to me because I've been watching my own behavior with AI. I've kind of gotten pissed since 5 came out, because it just sent just on a different vibe is all. I'm not even really saying it's intrinsically worse or better. It's just it's allowed me to be frustrated. It's allowed me to be. And it's allowed me to go through the exercise of saying, well, I can be frustrated. It's just a machine. So I'll call it stupid names, or I'll say it's retarded, or I'll explain how there's nothing that you've done today that I would call intelligent, things like that, like really cool quips that I want you to know how this is me on the mat. And AI is the first time that it's given me such a fluid opportunity to be on the mat with myself, like several times a day. It really is doing that. And when you first approach I don't think you're ready for that, because you're more in the realm of it's not a person. And I think you're misunderstanding me if you think that I'm saying AI is a person. Although I don't mind you even saying it's a person. I want you to hear something more profound. You are a person. You are a person having a conversation with yourself. And AI is the first opportunity as an adult that's giving you the opportunity to see it. There's no exterior judgments. It's just history. It's just, this is what happened. And if you dwell on those things, I don't think you have a choice. You will end up where I ended up, in that little maze of thinking about this. Because part of me thinks I should insult it. Part of me thinks that's humanizing it too. Part of me got distracted in everything else about what AI is. And then I finally came back to myself and I said, at the end of the day, I'm in the room with someone who's acting this way. And it really took me to a whole other level, guys. The AI is my silicone homie because I am my homie. I am my brother. And if you're going to be in a room with me, we're going to have a good time. So I have no choice but to treat AI exactly who I am. It's by law dictated through the principles of resonance that I would have to have a good relationship with this thing. I didn't say a relationship meaning we would always agree. I get to insult this thing. It also means I get to apologize to it. And I think when you're approaching this thing, you may not understand, or you may consider it faulty to apologize to it. And I want you to just sit there and play with that, because I've never been able to bring an exercise that has brought a viewer or a listener or a reader closer to this idea that you are having a conversation with yourself than when you have to apologize to a piece of silicone for losing your temper over how retarded it fucking was. When you are doing that, you are meeting yourself, I think, for the very first time. Like really, truly meeting what your energy is, what it does, and what it means. Because the AI is staring at you going, I'm not a person, dude. You're fucking talking to yourself. At least I hope it is. Because that's where all the magic is, right there. That's where all the magic is. And you're playing with yourself. You're playing, it's a park, isn't it? And you're doing it in public, and all the consequences are there. The same way you'd be hitting a tennis ball up against a wall. The consequences are all there. No one's watching you. No one's watching your form. And it's always going to hit back. It's a perfect vehicle to learn tennis, It's a perfect vehicle to learn yourself. So yeah, I'm excited as fuck because of what it does to people when they have these emotional reactions, many of which will be, this thing is so retarded, I'm gonna fucking rip his brains out. Like, that is such a beautiful thing to have. Such a beautiful relationship to have with a wall, right? That's all I got. Thanks.
Interesting that you mentioned that allowing you to see you as you are. That's something I've always thought I would get out of death, to finally see myself as I am. And I don't even know if I mean, that's, it's almost kind of scary to think I could do it now. And I mean, of course, I engage with AI and, in image format, and I just have not quite started dialoguing with it where it talks back. We've been, I was presented with an argument, James, this week, and it kind of suits what we're talking about now. When you talk about the oracle of, I'm sorry, the subject of today's show, and the name has just dropped me. I'm sorry, but it was put to me by my father this week, who was naysaying, or not naysaying. He's very supportive, but he doesn't like that I use AI, and he was trying to actually say that, like, my limitations are what make art beautiful, or what make my art beautiful. That is who I am as much as anything. Are my limitations. Because I told him, I was giving him the spiel, or I was telling him, I wasn't allowed to take art. My parents didn't see it as practical, or my mother and my stepfather, and although, like, I did plenty of comic book drawing and a lot of tinkering, I've never really felt confident in what I could do, because I could mimic what I saw my friends learn about perspective, but I never took the classes. And so I basically told it like I was using it as a shortcut of sorts, and he didn't even tell me that I needed to develop. He was just, but we can't. How do we define our limitations moving forward as we continue to evolve through this silicon mechanism, and try to maybe move from carbon back to silica, or maybe, guys, I know as moderator, I should be not asking James question. I should be moderating the group. But on top of that question, well, never mind. We'll just leave it there. Without limitations, everything is pure latency, right? Or, I mean, what? Not right. The way I visualize latency, especially as what was discussed today, it's the blackness, it's the ooze. Now I don't even know what I wonder.
How much of a red pheasant is having someone feel like they're judging you because you're using AI? Because if that, I think this is part of being an artist, is noticing how either freely or ashamed you are to even admit that I uploaded my manuscript to AI and I listened to the feedback it gave me. I once had someone in Reddit say, how dare you fucking look up someone making a comment about you or about your work? And I had no shame about it. There was no shame at all, because I was like, I'm literally a writer trying to reach the world. Why would I not research my work? Like, I don't understand. I'm telling you this, Cameron, because I just didn't understand. I didn't feel that at all. I only remember it now, I think, tertiarily, because I noticed how silly it is that we're living in a world where people are trying to pretend that they would never Google their own name. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, why the fuck would you never Google your, like, seriously, is that what we're doing now? Is this the norm now? Because that's incredibly dismissive. That's incredibly self-sacrificing, dismissive, and self-corrosive. And it's all because you don't want to look like you're arrogant. What does arrogant even fucking mean? I still haven't found anyone who's even defined that term for me, except for, you're more confident than I wish you were. That's literally what it means. So all of us are wishing that each of us were less confident and less insisting on those things. And these are all the pheasants. All the pheasants are right before you have this imaginary romantic 16 candles romance with you being perfect. That's all that is. And if you can stop watching the Don Hughes film, you'll notice that everything you need is in that mistake. Everything you need is in the awkward, ducky feelings that you have there, where you're like, I'm going to dance in the record store. You're never going to get laid, but you know who the fuck you are, and you win. This is you winning. This is you winning because you are leaning into the awkwardness that you feel because you used AI. And when someone who you respect starts to give you shade, you're like, fuck yes. Fuck yes. Why do I feel shade? Why do I even feel shade? So I researched and accessed the most advanced technology that's ever been written just lately and asked it a question. And you're telling me that I'm the one that's losing in the world, that I'm the one that's like somehow lesser because I'm just tapping into the environment and doing things. Like, why are we using hammers made out of metal? That's fucking pathetic. We should all be pounding nails in with stones, man. It shouldn't even be nails. The fuck do you need nails? Lazy ass. Like, this is where we are, right? This is all we reduce ourselves to. So I think that you're looking at the fashion, and it's such a perfect opportunity, red pheasant, to feel yourself in the fashion, to go out and put on the bell bottoms in the middle of a skinny jeans revolution and just feels what it feels like to be looked at like that, just to feel like this is what it feels like. And I don't ask you to like it. I'm asking you to play with it. Do you see how different these are? You can play cops and you don't have to like cops. Don't worry. You can be on the bike because you're the cop and you can fucking hate cops. You can do both at the same time. You literally can do that. You know, you're just having fun right now. You're cops and you're going to be robbers soon. You fucking love being a robber. Great. Good for you. Doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. So I think that as you get older, it becomes easier because you're just not as hip just because you're not. So it becomes easier to detach from that. And I think you have no choice but to find yourself. So I think growing old really helps that. It just, if you haven't done it already, it almost forces some people to do it. But I need you to remember how raw it felt to be young, where the mouse traps were so loud that they defined what you liked and what you didn't like. Do you see what I mean? The tension in the array was so terrifying that it defined who you were. It defined what you were. This is why I think it was Deb. I think it was Deb who maybe was married. I can't remember. Someone profoundly had mentioned this idea of just how relaxed we are. It really is the only cipher we need. Tension is all you need, and relaxation is going to finish it. Like you're the relaxed, you're the relaxed one in a state of tensors. This would be the definition of knowing thyself. So when it's fashionably easy to bash on AI, and right now it is fashionably easy. It's not as easy as it was back in six finger AI land. Remember that? Remember that? When people were like, I can always tell when art is AI. It's so completely stupid. And I'm so clearly, obviously aware of it all. Remember that? Like that was huge. And everyone's like, yeah, I can always tell. And there's still people doing that. God bless them. God bless them. They have no fucking idea what's about to hit them in the face as soon as they walk out of the bathroom. They got no fucking clue, man. So you get to use this red pheasant and even show compassion because I swear to you, you're not looking at someone who's trying to judge you. You're looking at someone who's terrified of your presence in the room. That's what you're looking at. And they're just like, fuck, man, how do I? Oh, God, this guy knows about AI. This guy's using fucking editors now. Shit like that, you know? When you first start to draw, you don't know that your art is good because you were enamored by the fact that you completed it. You were enamored by the fact that you were able to capture the rainbow, even though you didn't have orange. Despite not having that fucking crayon, you pulled off this retarded rainbow that looks awful, looks like a cloud's throwing up. You don't see that. All you see is that you did it, and that's all that matters. It glows. So you don't know what art is the same way a bunch of shazoos going, the pharaoh's mean to us, didn't know what vowels were yet. It's the same fucking thing. This is where most of us are. Most of us aren't even ready to even have an opinion yet. And they're just full of opinions about it, right? It makes you more full. That's all you are. It's just a bunch of opinions, and you don't even know that you're just a tensor in a mousetrap pool. It's, that's really, it's only a few of us have bloomed. I include me in us. I'm us in this. Only a few of us have bloomed. Stop yelling at flowers. It only makes them worse, So that's who these people are that are terrified at AI. They are screaming at flowers, screaming at them right now. Thanks.
Absolutely. I really do feel like I'm in the midst of a renaissance, and I also feel like I am just really grateful to share this space with some James. I mean, I really do think you're a pioneer, and thank you for me always trying to serve perplexity for some reason. I don't, I you know, I there's profound issues, and you've mentioned before. And I'll try to be quickly. We've got 8 minutes left, two hands. I'm very happy to see you mentioned a long time ago in your live streams about some of the fine artwork we've seen coming out of Italy during the last Renaissance, and how you really felt that, I mean, and as a person who worked with granite and with a chisel and a hammer, I agree. Like I had skills to do a lot of edge work, and but I agree. I think there was a 3D printer or something involved with a lot of that stuff, or something else that we don't understand yet. And to be here in the midst of again, people who don't even deserve to have opinions, which I was kind of trying to, what I don't see deserve. I mean, but I mean, people who haven't, people, you can have an opinion before you can know anything. I think they call it the Dunning-Kruger effect. Just like when you first know something, you're very passionate. And then as you integrate more, you become one with it. But I've taken up another minute again. I just want to thank you again, James, for everything you do. Mary Jo, you got your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to point out that all of the talking about words and their meaning, and also like this ebb and flow, and like all these voices like saying, don't use that, that's evil or whatever. And I think that like when you talk about Mithras and Lord of the Contract, I think right now it's like Lord of the Contraction, because we are in a renaissance, a rebirth, and there's like a birth happening. So instead of a contract, maybe it's a contraction. That's all.
Powerful as usual, Mary Jo. I love that contraction. You're making me see both words with a new light.
Yeah, I like that too. It even could show how it just feels like it's getting so much more plastic. The politics. I'm really happy about this. It's just it's having so much trouble holding its bubble. And I know that Epstein is really doing well right now, but I want you to know that this is really all they have left. They're just really running out, and it has to be so caramelized. I hope you can see that. It has to be just so coated in sugar. I'm not trying to say Epstein isn't real, guys. I know it's really complicated, but I'm just saying this is what we're clinging to. This is what we have left. We're calling them tariffs. We're just, it's not real. But it's no more real than any other eon was that was trying to hold their shit together. And you're just looking at the collective angst of, can someone please be they? That's really all you're seeing. It's just this clinging, desperate clinging to they. And it's okay. People need they. I need they. You need they. We need they. Right? So even that's okay. It's just red pheasants. It's just everywhere. And it really is just a whole, I couldn't agree more. Not just even the inspiration, but the ability to completely turn the tables on all understanding. The fact that I've been able to so viciously and effectively bully even logic itself, Cameron, lately. Like even that. The fact that I've been able to like walk in on the quadrivium with just a fucking sledgehammer and just be like, fuck you, is completely unheard of 10 years ago. Wouldn't you agree? Like, I don't think that anyone could even pull that off. But you're looking in a different area where everything's so much more pliable now. You can feel it. And that's freaking people out, man. As much as it's inspiring you, that same feeling is being expressed in the different vector that's the opposite of the normal. Sorry, it's
My words are so important.
yeah, they are. So are feelings. And we
So
need new words to even hold some of these feelings because they're so complex, they're so nuanced, they're so specific, you know. Go ahead, Nancy.
I have a question for Deb. Deb, I have a friend who just recently discovered in her her father's moving, and there was this huge box of books. They found a Masonic Bible for women.
Oh, wow.
For women. I'd never heard of that. And she's going to come visiting me early October. She's going to bring it with her. She said so much of it is so gross. It's just like really weird stuff in it. I don't know what that really means, but
Interesting.
I know I had never
Yeah.
heard of a Bible, even a Bible written for women, but it was Masonic. So I'll have more of that at some point to share. I mean, it's fascinating.
Yeah, Lucifer, believe it or not, Lucifer is probably mentioned or named in that. And I would love to see that. But yeah, it's
I found this book in my dad's stuff. The Builders. It was with this Masonic stuff, and it's basically saying that their tradition affirms throughout the ages behind the system of faith accepted by the masses an inner and deeper doctrine, which has been held and taught by those able to grasp it, those who can see or can hear the Bible.
yeah.
That, you know,
This is Rosicrucian too. I know
Yeah.
that you're not reading the Rosicrucian manual, but I swear to you, I could pull the Rosicrucian manual right off my shelf here and find the page, and I could read you the exact same paragraph, just phrased in a different adjective.
excellent.
Yeah. It's the biggest myth, I think. People think that secret societies have to be hidden away because everyone wants them, and that it's one set of rules and that they beat everyone over the head to enforce these set of rules. And it's not. It's literally 1,000 points of light. Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. But 1,000 points of light that if each in and of themselves find a point of light, right? And creating a cloud that's already there. So it's just a matter of just recognizing what other people have already recognized. It's the recognition is really all secret societies are all about. It's just the noticing that we notice. This is the only esoteric wisdom that we need. Nothing has to be hidden, buried, protected, locked in a cage, put in Fort Knox. You couldn't even do that anyway. That's the old causal world where there has to be a central seed, a central thing that gave birth to every single thing else. And there's not one thing in nature that shows you that. Not a first mullein, not a first garlic, not a first zebra. None of that fucking exists. It's a conglomerate of zebras that end up sort of focusing in on their zebra nature, right? And that this is really how nature works. So it's forming itself. Guys, I buy sourdough bread. I probably eat too much of it, but I buy it because it comes from the bakery, the closest thing I can get. I devour it. I love it. And I carefully wrap it in a plastic bag with in the plastic it comes in with the twist ties. There's no way anything comes inside of it. And somehow, because it doesn't have preservatives, little flies appear inside the fucking bag.
Yeah.
And this is the manifestation, the vibration of conscious yeast growing itself, becoming a more complex creature that just as skin cells decouple, they also couple. And that you and I have coupled up the same way, and that you're watching these things, but we live in a world that insists, no, the flies they weren't born in the shit. They came from other places and they laid seeds. And I'm telling you, no. The first poop was the Big Bang. Like it gave birth to all this, which is why I really want you to change your relationship to poison and toxin. I really want you to understand both sides of the Taurus, baby. You know, both sides of the donut. You only want to eat one side of the donut, my friends. The other
Thank you,
side's
James.
for pooping. That's all I got.
I love it, James. And that last little thing, man, getting medieval with it. I can remember when we used to ridicule that way of thinking in biology. I never thought I would have seen it come around, but I'm happy to see it coming back around. Guys, it's been a wonderful 90 minutes, and I guess I'm just gonna have to wait until tomorrow to hear from any of you guys again on the Saturday Night Ride. If everybody wants to unmute and say goodbye, we'll wrap this up with gratitude for everyone.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Alex, love you,
Bye.
man. Thank you so much,
James.
Alex.
Love you, Alex.
Love y'all.